Alright, so I'm going to show how to replace the battery on this 15-inch 2012 MacBook Pro model A1398. So first you're going to want to remove all the screws from the bottom using a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver. So I already removed them all. You want to keep them in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put the flat side down in the pattern I remove them on my desk. So as you can see, there's this rectangular pattern. If you mix them up, these two are shorter than the rest. Alright, so anyways, after you remove all those screws, go on the back here, get underneath the cover, and just pull it up. There are magnets here. It looks like one of these magnets came out, so I'm going to try and actually put that magnet back in. Let me zoom in a little bit here because we're not going to need to see the whole thing. There's an SSD here if you want to replace that. There's one screw, you can take it out, pull it up, and pull it out. I'm not going to show the rest. If you want to see those, I have disassembly videos for pretty much all these already. So anyways, let's go ahead and try and put the battery or the magnet back in. So I got some super glue here. I'm just going to put a tiny bit in there. Okay, just a little. And then we're going to take that magnet off that came out. Okay. And there's a rounded edge here. Let me zoom in some more. If your magnet came out, I don't know, this doesn't happen too often, but there's a rounded bit here. So you're gonna get that rounded bit lined up and also the flat bit. It helps to kind of get a flat tool like this, metal one, so that way I can stick the magnet on it and I can use that to help maneuver it just like that. All right, so we're gonna get that, and you wanna keep that in there. Make sure it has some pressure on it, 10 to 15 seconds to get that to set. Anyways, we got the cover off. Excuse me, let me zoom back out. Now what we're going to do is disconnect the battery. Hopefully you already shut down your Mac. If not, you can put the cover back on and shut that down. All right, and then now we're going to disconnect the battery connector. So tilt this up, the battery connector is right here. Actually, let me zoom in again to show this better. So here you can see there. All right, so the battery connector is right there, and we're just gonna pull that up just like this. Usually I use two hands to do it, so I'll lay it down like this, and then I'll get on both sides and we'll just pull both corners up just like that. Okay, there we go. So now we got the battery connector disconnected. Next, what you want to do, this isn't so important since we're just replacing the battery, but if you're messing around with other stuff on there, after disconnecting the battery, you'll want to press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. All right, this will make sure that there's a lot less risk of damaging the motherboard and other components. All right, so we'll do that. Okay, that's about 15 seconds. There we go. All right, now we're going to pop the battery out. So this sometimes is a bit of a pain. I think the 2012 model is worse than the rest, just because the adhesive is like older and they don't use one that peels as nice. We'll see, but we'll find out once we start peeling this out. All right, so we're gonna peel up this adhesive part here because they hide some screws under there. All right, so here's one screw here. We're gonna remove that. Again, keep these screws in order. Okay, and then we're gonna go to the other side, peel this up as well, and remove that screw too. All right, so we got both those screws out. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to remove the two screws for the speaker here, just so we have some room to get to these battery packs easier, right? And if I didn't mention, we're using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver bit for all of these. We had to switch. We're no longer using the P5, it's a T as in Torx 5 screwdriver. All right, so I'll remove those two. All right, and then we're going to remove the two on this side as well. All right, just like that. Okay, so we got those two screws here and these two screws here. Once you remove the two screws, we're going to be lifting up the speaker so that we can scrape out the battery packs. So what I do is I turn it like this. I use my thumb on here to pull this up, and here you can see we got this speaker up. Usually the speaker is going to be dusty on this part here, so I clean that out. Okay, and then we're going to do that on the other side after we get the battery out. So I have this scraping tool. You want a thin, flexible tool. You don't want to use like a stiff knife, otherwise you'll puncture into the battery. Also, not on purpose, but as I've been using this, I kind of made a bend in this tool. So it's curved like this. You want to make sure to use it this way, so when you scrape, it goes under the battery and not like scrapes into underneath, okay? So if you have a tool like that, that's what you want to do. They do sell this one. I got it used from someone. They said it came from a like closed down pharmacy, so they use them to kind of like scoop pills. But I found that this also works well, which is a frosting spatula. The only thing is I had to file it down up in the front to make it thin, because as you can see, this one is much thicker. I think it's about 3 times the thickness of this one that I have. All right, but it works too, but I'm gonna use this one. All right, so let's go ahead. Once we got the speaker up, we're gonna get the tool underneath, and then we're just gonna push this tool to scrape underneath, basically cutting the foam. There's a foam adhesive under these, holding these battery packs in place, and basically we're cutting the foam layer to separate the 2 pieces of adhesive. Okay, so there we go. We're just gonna go along like that, and now we got this battery pack up. Okay, they are all attached at the bottom, so you don't want to like rip it out. We're gonna have to go ahead and continue cutting the adhesive under all of these packs. So we got that one. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the second pack. This one's a little bit difficult. You can't get this corner because the screw mount here, but you can go at an angle like this and get most of it out. Okay, so we're just gonna keep cutting up this adhesive here and work our way down to the bottom. Okay, just like this. Okay. There we go. Okay, and then you can kind of like slide the tool to make sure you got all of it. Again, that one corner is not going to come out. So what you got to do is, once you get most of it, I angle it at an angle so it gets all of it except for this corner, and then you can use that to pull the battery pack up, just like that. Okay, I'm going to go over to the other side now and do the same thing. Lift up this, clean off the speaker. All right, I'm using my other hand now, so it's a little bit trickier, and we'll clean this off. All right, same thing, get the tool underneath the speaker and then scrape it up. Okay, just like that. Work your way over towards the front where the laptop opens. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then once you got all of it out, we can go ahead, put the speaker down, and we'll go ahead and go over doing the same thing as last time. At an angle this way. Okay, then rotate it over and work your way down the rest of the battery pack. Okay, then same thing at the angle, go over there and pry up the rest of this part. There we go, just like that. Okay, so these middle packs are a little bit trickier because they're slightly raised up because of the trackpad. Let me see if I can show you that. So if you get these battery packs out of the way, here you can see there's that metal frame there, which is nice because when you scrape this, it allows you to like just use a bunch of force and hit that thing. But yeah, once you get to the center ones, you have to raise it slightly so that you can scrape the adhesive there. You want to also be careful not to get the tool to go this direction because there's the trackpad cable here. And if you go too much to the left, you can actually cut that and then you'll damage it. So it kind of helps to kind of start more towards the further towards away from there, and then just go ahead and cut this. Okay, just like that. I'm going to try and use the other one since it's a little bit thicker. It makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so we're going to get this one and do that. All right, and then we'll work our way over to the side and just continue down. Okay, just like that. Sorry, my head's getting in the way. It's kind of awkward cutting it when I'm like keeping my head further back. Okay, so just keep working our way over. If you want, you can kind of tilt it more to the side this way and cut through the adhesive like that. Whatever works for you. just know to be careful with the trackpad cable and things on the other side, okay? We're gonna go up here because we didn't cut up here yet. Okay, and work our way over. And then you might have to lift up both packs here to get underneath the furthest end here. Okay. Just like that. Sorry, my head keeps getting in the way, I know. Alright. Got most of it out. This end doesn't want to cut. I'm going to turn the tool this way. Here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and do the other side. Same thing. Okay. And you want to be careful. It's going, again, like I said, you want to be careful because it sometimes wants to go towards the part with the trackpad cable. Okay, so I kind of angle it slightly towards the front. Just keep working our way down towards the front of the MacBook. Okay. I know some people are like, why do I record this whole process? Why don't I just fast forward through it? I mean, you're welcome to fast forward through it, but I like to record the whole process so if customers want to see, then they see how much work kind of goes into this. If I fast forward it all, then it's kind of like, it makes it look a lot easier, and then when people go to attempt this, they don't realize how much difficult it is, whatever you want to say. Alright, so we got all those things cut. Once you do that, you should be able to lift all of it up, just like this. Okay, you kind of want to lift all of it at once, and then you can kind of pull it out just like this. There we go. Alright, so here you can see we got all of this out. These things are kind of bad. They're inflated and bulging. Someone told me that on Reddit or something, they call it a spicy pillow. But anyways, we'll set those batteries aside. Okay, and this kind of adhesive sucks. So, like, let me see if I can show you. So I usually use this tool, and what I do is I'll scrape some of it, and then usually the adhesive will kind of peel off, and then you can kind of peel this, but as you can see, this adhesive really doesn't want to come out. So what we're going to do, okay, it might work better with a cotton ball. I haven't attempted it because I don't know where the cotton balls are. I don't really use cotton balls for much. So what I'm going to do is I get some paper towel. Okay, and I'm basically just going to get the paper towel like all soaked with that. And then I'm going to get all the rubbing alcohol to soak into this foamy pad stuff. Okay, so when it gets into that foamy pad, then the adhesive turns like very gooey, and you can just kind of scrape it all up. So that's why I kind of just get this all saturated and basically just get all the rubbing alcohol to soak into these things, okay? So you kind of want a lot to where it's like just soaking in there, and just keep getting it, right? I'll work on like one side at a time to make it a little bit easier. Focus on like one side at a time. Okay. We'll see if the adhesive is peeling up. All right. So just keep working on it. If there's not enough rubbing alcohol, you could always add more, but there we go. Let's see if we can scrape it up now. So, nope, not yet. So it kind of scrapes up a little bit, but we're gonna need a lot more. So let's go ahead and put a bunch more. Okay. If you have like cotton balls, you can probably just leave it soaking on top. But basically the rubbing alcohol, it will soak into the adhesive and dissolve it. Okay. So as you can see, I'm putting a whole bunch. I'm kind of just squeezing it out onto there. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Let's see if we can scrape it up while it's soaked up. Okay. This one's not working too well. Let me try with my metal scraping tool. Okay, so here you can see it's kind of coming out, right? And with all that rubbing alcohol, it makes it more more goopy, so it's easier. It doesn't stick back to itself. It stays like liquidy. Alright, so using this tool works a lot better. I heard somebody say they mix like rubbing alcohol and like Goo Gone or something, but there you go, it comes out. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it to soak all into the speaker and then cause some problems. But usually rubbing alcohol is not a big deal if it gets into electronics, as long as you just let it dry up. Like if it's 100% pure rubbing alcohol, the electronics will actually still function without any problems. But I don't want to risk it because it gets like the contaminants from like these sticky things and whatever dirt and junk gets in it. So I don't like risking that, even if it is like theoretically not an issue. Okay, so here we go. We're just scraping up all this adhesive. Again, this is the most difficult part, is just cleaning out all this adhesive. You actually could just leave all this gunk here, but then your battery will rattle around inside. If you want, you can actually add some like foam to pad it, but if you want the battery to get the best kind of like cooling and everything, because that aluminum, it actually is really good at absorbing heat, so that's why a lot of the heat sinks are made of aluminum. So that's why they kind of stick it directly onto here. So if you want the battery to last as long as possible, you want to kind of clean this up and then stick it directly on. So there we go, we got most of it out, as you can see. Okay, scrape all that gunk out, throw it away. If you leave this soaking with a lot of rubbing alcohol for a while, it will come out a lot easier. But I kind of just want to hurry up and get it done, even though it takes more of my time. Go. Okay, you can see all this gunky, goopy stuff. Okay, I'm going to rotate this to make it easier for me to work on. I'm going to continue just scraping up this gunk here. And then we're going to put a bunch more rubbing alcohol and clean it up. Here you can see actually the foamy stuff is coming separate from the adhesive itself on this as I scrape it. That means we need more rubbing alcohol for this one. Alright, let's get all this gunk out. Okay. Okay, got most of it out. Let's go ahead and add some more rubbing alcohol and try and clean that out. Oh man, all that adhesive stuff is sticking to my hands. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get the adhesive off my hands. Kind of a bad idea grabbing it. Alright. I'm going to fold this over so that there's not all the adhesive residue stuck on the other side. Let's go ahead and wipe this up. If it's stuck, you can kind of scrape it up some more. Get all that stuff off. Okay. And continue wiping that gunk out. Alright, clean this off. Here we go. Okay. Alright, so we got all of that side. Let's go ahead and flip it over and do the other side. Same thing. You basically want to saturate this adhesive in rubbing alcohol. I might have to put some more. If anything, you can actually pour some in here, but just to be safe, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Get another paper towel, fold it up, and then let's saturate it again. Okay. Let's get this. Okay, get this all soaked with the isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Okay, and then let's go ahead and scrape it all up again. Tedious parts. Should try with the thicker one. This one might be easier to scrape it up. Let's see here. Yep. So this one, I sharpened it actually. After I thinned it out, I used a knife sharpener and made this much sharper. And also because it's thicker, it's a lot easier to scrape up stuff like this. So here we go. Okay. Get rid of that foamy adhesive stuff. Yeah, it's all stuck to my hands. Well, I'll wash it out later. Go ahead and scrape all of this up. Continue scraping this stuff up. There we go. You can see this tool actually makes it a lot easier. Alright. Last few pieces. Okay, here we go. All this adhesive residue. Scraping off all this adhesive. There we go. Alright, let's work on the center now. Okay. Should I clean this or... well, let's go ahead and do this first since we have the paper towel before it gets all contaminated. Add some more isopropyl alcohol in there. Alright. All of these all covered with the rubbing alcohol. You want to be careful because this hole here goes to the trackpad, the button. So if you damage that, then the button might not work. Okay. go. Get the rubbing alcohol in there. While that's soaking, I'm going to try and clean this stuff off. Okay, let's open this up and fold it so that it's no longer on the contaminated side. Okay. Continue wiping it up. Alright, all the residue for the most part is gone. We'll use a clean one after to completely get it all out. Come on, get off. There we go. Okay. Alright, now let's work on the middle. Hopefully it's soaked enough that I can scrape it. This side, the part here is a lot more flexible, so it's a little more difficult to scrape this up. And we're very likely going to scrape this little cover here, but that's okay. Our goal is just to get this foamy stuff out. Okay. So as you can see, it's so much more difficult to get this one out. Okay. But we're just gonna have to keep working it. I'm gonna work on one line at a time, and then I'll slowly move over, because it's easier to do that than going side to side. Okay. Go. Let's go over this way now. Okay, this kind of thing is where it's good to test the battery before you put the adhesive into place. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean when I get to that point, but we're gonna scrape up all this foam first. There we go. 2/3 done. Let's go ahead and keep going. I hate this kind of adhesive. Okay. Okay, keep scraping this up. Okay, keep scraping this up. This is the trackpad cable I was talking about. If you accidentally hit that, then you're going to have to pop out this metal plate. It's held in with an adhesive as well. And then you're going to have to replace that cable, so hopefully you don't accidentally hit that. Go. 2/3 completed with the centerpiece. I think now I know. The customer was complaining about a smell. I don't know. But every so often, like on this, while I'm scraping up the adhesive, I smell kind of like a kind of slight sour smell. Maybe that's what he was talking about. He didn't really describe the smell. He just said it, like, when he's using it, it sometimes smells bad, so I don't know. I don't really smell that. It's like a very faint smell, so I'm not sure. Unless the heat makes it worse. Yeah, I definitely smell something sour in the, it's weird, in the adhesive, but that's, I wouldn't think that would be what they were talking about, so I don't know. This adhesive is a pain. So probably that method the person said with like Goo Gone and rubbing alcohol would work. He said he just lets it soak on there for a while and then it wipes off really easily. Maybe that dissolves the foam material. But the newer ones are a lot easier to do than this. This one, you really have to scrape up all the adhesive. Okay, there we go. So you got all the foamy residue off. Now we're going to use some more rubbing alcohol to clean off the rest of that residue. Okay. We already cleaned up all the sides, so all that's left is the trackpad area. I will use a little rubbing alcohol just to clean up these sides, just to be safe, to make sure everything is completely gone. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and clean this out one more time with a clean paper towel rubbing alcohol. Okay, gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Looks good. There are some little black bits, but we can't really get them all out. They're just rolling around. Alright, so let's go ahead and clean this off now. You can see this adhesive stuff is so much of a pain to remove. Okay. Let's fold it over to a side that's not so contaminated with the adhesive and continue cleaning. This stuff, it helps where there's like thicker adhesive to kind of scrape it up a little. Maybe I can use the plastic one now. Here you can see when I scrape it, it like smears it around. And that smearing around is basically just thinning it out, so it makes it easier to absorb the rubbing alcohol when we go and wipe it. So I'm going to put a little more rubbing alcohol on the paper. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and wipe it up some more. can see it wipes it off a lot easier. Then we're going to go ahead and scrape it up some more if it doesn't want to come out. Okay. Scrape that up some more. There you go. It's coming out so much easier now. Okay. And wipe it up again. Almost got it all. Alright, then we're going to use a clean paper to kind of try and get all that residue off. Let me try folding it over one more time to a cleaner side and just wipe it up like this. Okay, and then we'll get one more clean paper towel. Add a little more rubbing alcohol to it. And we're just going to wipe it off just like this. Okay, I don't think we'll be able to get all the residue, but most of it. There we go. There are some scratches in there, of course, from scraping that stuff off, but not really much we can do about that. Let's get the replacement battery. Okay, so the replacement battery comes like this. It has this plastic thing that keeps the adhesive from sticking, and then it has this plastic on top to keep the battery packs lined up. So we're going to slide this battery pack into place, and we're going to go ahead and plug it in first to test it. So a lot of times this piece is too long. Let me zoom in. So what you do to fix that, lift it up slightly. Okay, so first you want to bend this side down, and then you want to go towards the center, bend that up. All right, and then bend the whole connector down just like that. All right, and hopefully now it's lined up enough. Okay, and I like to put in the top corner in first. Right, once you get that lined up, then you can go ahead and push the whole thing down. All right, so let's go ahead and see if this powers on okay. I'm going to take the cover and just put that there just to keep it from moving around. Let's zoom back out. All right, flip this over. That's all like dusty. All right, let's open it up. And first thing I'm going to do, well, we don't need to do the Pram and Smc Reset, but I'm going to push the power button and then hold the Option key so that it doesn't boot completely. And right now it's actually giving a low battery warning, so we're probably going to have to plug it in. So for this case, you're going to want to plug this in and then leave it for a while. Let's see here, this is MagSafe 2. Okay, so I don't think it's going to turn on right away, but let's see. Okay, it is. I'm going to hold the Option key. Alright. Let's make sure it's actually booting. So I see the Apple logo. I'm going to move this out of frame. The battery right now is showing 68%, but it's probably a lie. Let me unplug it and make sure it went to 69. Okay, I guess it needed to be plugged in to start up. Let me shut it down and make sure that it turns back on without being plugged in. Okay, push the power button again. And okay, looks like it's good. So I'm holding the Option key so it doesn't boot up, so that way I can just shut it off. Alright, so there we go. Alright, let's power it off completely, and then we're going to peel the adhesive and seat the battery properly. Alright, so let's go ahead, open this back up. I'm going to pop the battery back off like before. If you want, you can get that sticker that was on the old original battery. Okay. I'm going to peel that off actually and transfer it over. Okay, so you got this. I'm going to transfer that over as well. So I'm going to try and flex this to make it go flat again. All right, so first thing, we're going to disconnect the battery, of course. I'm going to be careful not to put too much force on the motherboard. There we go. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, lift this up, peel off this blue stuff. Okay, can throw that away. All right, so you want to be careful because once you drop this into place, you're not going to be able to lift it back out. So get that in, slowly slide it down, make sure it clears those little screw mounts. All right, and then make sure to get these little screw mounts to line up as well. I'm gonna have to put my head in the way because I want to check and make sure. Okay, and make sure those line up. There we go. And then once you get everything lined up, you can go ahead and push this down, but I'm gonna first put the screws in just to make sure. So get the battery mount screws into place. All right. And we're just gonna tighten the screws down. Go. Oh man. Okay, I think on this one the screw mount actually goes through the hole. Let's see, interesting. Is that what it did on this side? Because it felt, oh yeah, so as you can see the screw mount actually went through the hole. Okay, so if that needs to happen, then you might have to like pull this over slightly. Actually no, it doesn't. That's weird. Okay, I don't know why it did it on that side. Let's go ahead and tighten this screw in. It might do it by itself just from tightening the screw. Yep. Okay, so tighten that screw down. Tighten this screw down. There we go. Now that we got all those screws in, let's go ahead and put back the speaker screws as well. Go. Make sure to get all of them in. All right, now that we got everything lined up, let's go ahead and reconnect the battery. Get that lined up. Make sure you get the one corner in first. Okay. It's a little bit out of alignment. Go and pop. Oops, is it not lining up right? Yeah, it's not lining up right. Make sure you get the connector lined up right so you don't damage the motherboard. All right, and then push that down. There we go. You can take this connector or this piece of adhesive and stick that back on top. Okay, then we just put the cover on. We're going to do a Pram and SMC reset. I recommend doing this every time you change some major hardware component. I forgot. Let's push this down and make sure to peel off this clear layer. So the clear layer, the way you peel this off, you want to roll it off. You don't want to pull it straight up. So roll it like this, okay? Because if you peel it straight up, there's a good chance you'll separate layers in the battery and that can cause problems. So it's good to roll it off like that, okay? There we go. All right, we'll put the cover back on. Let's do the Pram and SMC reset before we put back the screws. Open this up, plug it in. So to do the Pram or SMC reset, so SMC reset, if your light is orange here, oops, I'm gonna turn this off first. Okay, so you don't have to turn it off completely, but I'm gonna put it into this boot mode just so when I do the SMC reset, it doesn't damage the data. So Control Option Shift on the left side and then power button. This light will go green and then back orange. That's how you know you did SMC reset right. To do a Pram reset, you want to have the computer off. So I'm going to do this in combination. So I'm going to do the SMC reset real quick. And then the Pram reset, you do Command Option P and R. You'll hear the chime. You can do this when you first turn on the thing. And then if you do it right, you should hear it chime again, just like that. So that's how you do a Pram reset and SMC reset. And the computer turned itself back on. We're going to unplug this and it looks good. I'm going to shut it down and then turn it back on one more time just to make sure everything's good. And then once I confirm that, we are going to put back the rest of the screws. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, please like, subscribe. Yep, it's working. Share my channel with others so that they can also fix their own devices. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. You're welcome to stay as I put back all the screws. This is using a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver. But yeah, let's go ahead and put back all the screws. And that's pretty much it. Alright, And I'm doing this still. My right clavicle's still a little like painful if I move it in a certain way. So if I can do this, then you guys should be able to do this, all right? Assuming you didn't break your clavicle too, but all right, let's continue doing all the rest of the screws. Alright, that's pretty much all there is to it. Oops. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Let's drop this.